All right, Montoya is really, I think, one of the coolest creators out there. He's in my eyes, like, he's an adult who's rational, and we're talking about Star Citizen, which he covers and I cover as well. And sometimes we share opinions. In fact, a lot of the times our opinions kind of mesh. We have some things we disagree on, but I like when he's covering the real business of Cloud Imperium. Now we have Donnie here, Cloud Imperium employee, who is getting moved over to the Theaters Award team, and that's official. That's announced, so that's nice. We can tell everybody that. So congratulations to Donnie. And you know, the cool thing I love about Donnie, and I said this last night at the after party, is that he's been with us before he even was an employee. He's been a member of the DG360 community forever, and it's just so nice to see somebody so real that can just like hang, and you know, like the fact that he's always here, he's super genuine. I would just like to applaud Donnie, just him as a person. So let's check it out here. Boom. Let's see what he's got to say about the 1,100 employees after the Turbulent acquisition.
Big news out of CIG this morning. It seems they have fully acquired the Montreal game dev Turbulent. I say game dev because Turbulent originally came on board to develop the website for Star Citizen, and as they become more and more involved in developing and working with CIG, they start taking on more tasks involving such things as cloud services, persistent anti-streaming, and server meshing. So they're very much entrenched and integrated into what Star Citizen is already doing. We're going to take a look at this release in a second, but I want to jump back to a 2020 release when they announced a minority stake in Turbulent. So this has been a long time coming. And what I can only surmise from this move is that CIG has worked out that it's actually cheaper for them to simply buy out Turbulent completely than continue to pay them for services. I'm not sure what the rates are, but if they have X amount of hours, then 1,000 dev hours to...
By the way, I would also like to add, you're talking about like, well, we've had quite a bounce back. We've actually been doing pretty good in 2023. It might be a bear market bounce, but it's been bouncing. So the thing is during these past 2 years, while everybody's been suffering and we've been going through a bear market, you're still seeing building being done by Cloud Imperium. When you see a company that continues to grow in times that are very difficult for others, for peers in their group, then I just got to say this: you're rocking over 9,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't tell you. I can't tell you how it frustrates me that I always see these scam comments still. There's another cycle of scam comments, and it's like, guys, do you understand how difficult it is in this atmosphere to be growing and making money right now, as Cloud Imperium is doing? There's not a lot of other franchise out there that can say that about their business.
You create a new settlement, and they're saying, well, instead of just paying them for that, why don't we just buy them out? Because in the long term, 5-10 years down the line, when the game comes out, it's actually going to be cheaper for us to actually own Turbulent outright than continue to contract out to them. So along with a minority stake back in 2019, comments from the CTO, co-founder of Turbulent, where I'm extremely proud to officially announce the creation of Star Citizen development team in Montreal, Turbulent. Now, Montreal has a rich history of game dev. Ubisoft being out of Montreal. As he mentions right here, Montreal is an amazing talent pool of developers and rich video game history. So no doubt that any game devs that might be working for Ubisoft and looking to leave or other opportunities could end up and do end up at Turbulent and at CIG, which is beneficial CIG, obviously. So this move is, I guess, well, it's surprising. I didn't know that CIG was looking to add more to their team. And with the joining of Turbulent now, they have over 1,100 employees working there. So CIG, a large company, well, they already were large, but larger, 1,100 employees plus at this point. Let's take a look at what they're saying in the release here. Hi, everyone. We have some exciting news to share with you all. After more than a decade of fruitful partnership and years working together in the trenches to build something in the industry never seen before, we decided that it was time for us to finally and officially join forces. Again, this is 100% a financial issue. It's more financially beneficial to CIG to simply own them outright than continue to contract out to them. There are no figures here for what the actual buy.
Sorry, Crytek, you're a day late and $1 short. It's just like an inside joke that only a few people get who've been along for the whole ride. Yeah, right. Sorry, singer.
That amount was, but the only way I can possibly calculate it is saying if 10 years down the line, it's actually cheaper to buy them out right now than to contract out
they
for
got
the
the
10
cash
years.
for it. They got
That's
the cash
math
for it
behind
now.
it. So obviously very well done to Turbulent. I'm sure they're celebrating and popping some champagne right now about it. But obviously also an expensive move for CIG.
It is, but worth
no
it.
doubt we'll see some ship sales coming along soon to make up for it. We first met Turbulent CTO and CEO back in November 2012. When they just launched our crowdfunding campaign and not want to be beholden to Kickstarter, they built their own website. So Turbulent came along as the web developer. But as I mentioned
Man,
we're
gonna watch that
they
next,
became
buddy.
a core part of the efforts, cloud services,
I got some
persistent
stuff to say
entity
about
streaming,
that.
and server meshing. So as CIG developed and grew, Turbulent came along and said, we can do this for you. We can hire some devs to work on server meshing and contract out to you. And CIG liked that. I guess the US dollar and Canadian dollar exchange being favorable for that also. It's much cheaper to hire devs in Canada who will work for cheaper, well, relatively cheaper than, say, in LA or in Texas.
I think that's a good question, Nathan. I think it's only in name only. I mean, essentially, it is Sig Montreal. I mean, like right now, it is Sig Montreal, except all in the name, right? And there might be a name change down the road, but I don't think so, at least for now. But who knows? I mean, Chris could. I mean, like Chris has that. You know, Chris has that. He needs that. What do we say? That je ne sais quoi, if you will. You see what I'm doing?
So that's why Turbulent grew, and I guess why it got to the point where it did now. With Turbulent as part of CIG core group of companies, where headcount will be over 1,100, making us one of the largest independent game developers in the world.
You. Every once in a while.
We're going to read more about this. Let's go into Reddit and see some of the comments over there first. But before I do, just a reminder of what Turbulent did do. Well, aside from the RSI website, the star map is something they worked also on. And I guess for a lot of you who may be new to Star Citizen, have never seen this before, one day we will get to use this for its purpose. At the moment, I know it's just that.
Yeah, like this level of map should be in the game. You should be able to do this right now in the game. I've been talking about this for a while.
It's for eye candy, but it's very cool. It got a lot of awards, actually. It shows you the small jump tunnels, the medium, the larges. You get to look around, you get to see what the space looks like. I don't think this is going to be what the final actual star map is going to be, but it gives you an idea of the
It should be. I mean, why shouldn't it be? I mean, he didn't say that it shouldn't be, but I'm saying that I think it should be, man. Dude, this should absolutely be in the game. This should be the map. You know, you should be able to zoom in real time. Take some notes from our friend, who is he? Todd over at Stutter Fox, designing. What is it? What's the name of the game? Final Frontier. Is it Final Frontier? I can't remember the name of the title, but he's got a great map system that's real time, 3-dimensional, and Falling Frontier. You guys take a page out of the book from that, but like this essentially should be in game.
Scope of where they hope to take Star Citizen eventually. Obviously, we don't have any of these star systems in here. Well, we do have one of them, but this is what they hope to get to eventually. And Turbulent, being one of the companies working on outposts and a lot of these planet techs, I guess this is why they came on board. So let's see what
you'll be
Reddit
seeing more work in this area
about it. And I guess this is a good comment here from Aces High. Everyone thinks this is going to speed up the dev development, but I have no idea what happens when you grow like that. If anything, it'll be a reason for slow releases. Absolutely yes and no. But look, here's the story. If you're baking a cake, you have one chef to bake a cake, and you say, well, I'm going to bring in 10 chefs now. Will that cake...
He is absolutely right. Throwing people at problems isn't the solution. Everybody always thinks that you need more people to solve things, and that is absolutely a flawed argument. You need the right people. Good management, good business decisions are finding the right people to execute with the least amount of people as possible doing it. That's the way you execute as a business, especially in the game dev world. So, yes.
What Montoya is no. So adding more people, throwing more people onto an issue, onto a project, onto a problem, doesn't necessarily speed it up. Now, will there be different kinds of cakes? Will there be an improvement to baking the cakes? Maybe.
For sure, Matt.
But adding more people doesn't mean things will speed up. And because CIG, well, here you go, CIG owned 30% already. This doesn't mean that adding more people is going to make things faster, but it definitely does add more talent onto the team. So don't expect things to speed up because of this. CIG had access to everyone there already. It's
essentially the same people with the same titles, right, in the same building, and they were always there. It's just they bought them, you know. Now, I can say this in the business world, like if I'm subcontracted to do works for somebody, it's kind of an interesting take. Am I going to do a better job if I'm like subcontracted to do the work, or am I going to do a better job if I have a boss over me and I'm directly an employee? Now, that's a good question. That's something that might be different, right? No, I know there was no subcontract. I'm saying essentially they were hired, Turbulent, to do the job. They weren't owned by Cloud Imperium. You understand what I'm saying, noob? So I'm saying, like, philosophically speaking, as a worker, as somebody who's working, in a situation where you're not directly owned by the corp, right? Are you going to do a better job in that particular situation? Or are you going to do a better job when somebody officially buys you? And now you're like, I don't know. They were directly responsible anyway. It's a good question, though.
Is cost savings in the future. Instead of having to contract out to Turbulent for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, they simply straight up own Turbulent now, and Turbulent is part of CIG, which will have...
Right, and they were contracted out. And is Turbulent the only... was Cloud Imperium the only customer of Turbulent?
Cost savings in the future. Not this year, but down the line, that's where they see it going. And obviously, having access to Canadian devs at a cheaper rate compared to US devs is definitely more beneficial in the long run for them too. Here's an interesting comment from Casey saying, next year we'll have so many versions of where to harmonize our workflows and procedures as an excuse why things are slowed down. I don't believe this is to be the case. I think Turbulent is already as much integrated into CIG as they could be from 2020 already. I don't think there's much they need to do to make it mesh any more than it is. And non-Nimbus here, I think, calling it correctly, saying they've been working with Turbulent since the very beginning. If they still need to align that much again, it'd be a sign of bad management. Absolutely. I think Turbulent has pretty much been doing 90%, maybe even 99% of what they do already focused just on CIG. So it's not that they need to focus on meshing the two cultures together. I believe it's pretty much meshed as much as they can be already. Yes. Award-winning star map? What? Yeah, look, I guess not many people know this exists. When this first came out, it blew our minds at how big the scope of what's going to be happening is. Obviously, nowhere close to where it is, but it gives you a clue as to how CIG is thinking it's all going to work out. I also don't see this map being something which they would put out ahead of the game, the actual map, because you're not supposed to know where the systems are. It's supposed to be an adventure in finding all these systems. So we'll see how that goes. But in any case, the star map actually did win many awards back in the day. I know now, all these years later, it's not that impressive, but when it did come out, it was extremely impressive. And yes, it did win several awards. Dexy saying, surely with over 1,100 people, we can get Theaters of War back on the shelf, right? As far as I understand, the stuttering issues and the problems they found with Theaters of War is not something that putting more people on the problem can fix. Whether they get 1,000 people, 2,000 people.
By the way, we do have Donnie here. I want to reiterate, we do have Donnie on that team, so it's very nice to have him here.
Again, the cake baking theory, right? If you bring in more chefs, can you make the cake bake faster? And the answer is no. But Siege of Orison was a step closer. Arena Commander, Combined Arms Act, tank battles. There are similar things coming. The lessons learned from Theaters of War, and I don't have the exact answer of why they can't make it work, but whatever the reasons are, they're taking smaller steps to getting there. So Siege of Orison being one, and the changes we saw coming up with the combined arms and the tank battles, they're taking baby steps to getting to where Theaters of War would have been. So I think Theaters of War was overly ambitious. They hit problems which they simply couldn't solve, that you take a step back and baby step their way up to that. That's what I saw happening over there. Here's an interesting comment from Kauto saying, the expansion of the body count at CIG concerns me. More bodies to receive a salary, faster spending of money. I'm afraid they're going to grow too big too fast and spend too much too fast and run out of money. Yeah, look, that has been an ongoing concern of mine for the last 8 years already. And every year, I keep showing you in the videos I make talking about their finances, I'm proved wrong. So if they keep on growing...
Yes, that is factually correct. He is right. Like, the revenues keep coming in. They're making profit. They reported profit. Like, I was worried about the business model for a long time, and I worried about the expenses and the amount of locations and the amount of employees they keep bringing in because of the amount of expenses they are bringing on. And I kept worrying and I kept worrying about it. And then they just proved me wrong because the revenues were so strong. Being a company, being able to report profits crazy, being able to grow at a time where the market's shaky. And like I said before, about 10 minutes ago, you got like a bear market scenario happening, sort of, kind of right now. Like I said, in 2023, we're seeing a bounce in the market, which is might be a bear market bounce. I'm not quite sure what's happening, but 2023 has brought significant gains back. If you just started investing in 2023, if you start investing in 2021, you're almost getting back to break even. But, you know, like 2 years from 2021, 2022 were very rough years. At least the latter half of 2021 and going through all the way of 2022 were very bad years for the market. And to see a company grow during that is a very positive, strong thing. And I worried about the expenses for the very longest time. And like Montoya too, am like, hey, I see the numbers. They're transparent. And they're doing good in terms of the financials, you know. I, like Mad Style, do have some reservations as to management in general at Cloud Imperium. I think my issues more so lie with the communication that's happening here, between the different teams. I think they maybe need to look at the people who are managing those teams and communicating, cross-communicating. That's just me speculating. But that's kind of where I'm in the camp at. I think Mad Style as well, who's spoken here earlier, is in that camp. Let's keep going.
Like they do, they keep on bringing the money like they do, then they can't afford this. But also, I would like to believe that the financial advisors at CIG who looked at this work with Turbulent said, we need Turbulent to work with us for the next 5 or 10 years. And considering what we're paying them now, it is actually beneficial to buy them out right now rather than wait 5-10 years down the line. So I believe CIG has this right. But the question always is, can they support the new employees coming in? Can they keep feeding them out? Can they keep paying the salaries? Right. And I've been saying,
I think that's all public perception. And Cloud Imperium is going to have to be very careful. They're going to have to kind of walk that tightrope and make sure the marketing stays to a point. That public image is very, very important. I can kind of see that slipping just slightly. So it's very important to put the good face on. And, you know, you always have to worry about the fact that when you're a company that you can stay afloat, bringing in the revenue. The bringing in the revenue part is very important and directly related to that face that's on Cloud Imperium and whether people want to play the game. And the player retention, keeping the people in the game.
Saying the same thing for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, and they keep on doing it. So we'll see how this year goes. I'm
closing my eyes because I'm organizing my thoughts here as I speak. And when I close my eyes, I can better see things.
I believe there's going to be some big announcements at CitizenCon.
There you go, Sketch.
Maybe not 2042, but definitely some big ships being released. And if those big ships bring in the money like they did at the previous Kraken sale at last CitizenCon I went to,
Sketch.
Then yeah, look, they're bringing it in. They keep doing it. So if they can keep on bringing the money, then they should expand.
What's up, Dom?
I guess we'll get worried when we start seeing year after year of declining revenues. If we see year after year decline in revenues and sales.
And don't question how the banana fountain works. Don't you dare question how the banana fountain works, Sketch. I think he just wanted to know, though. I think he was actually curious. But just in case, yeah, and hold on one second. Can I have a banana? I'm going to question the banana fountain. I do my best thinking in the dark. The irony that I am actually going blind, too. Oh, humor.
And disinterest in Star Citizen, which we have not seen because interest has only been growing. And keeping in mind that we'll also start seeing people from Starfield, once Starfield comes out this year, and we see a whole new generation of individuals interested in the Star Citizen type genre, we may see a big influx of players from Starfield to Star Citizen in the coming year.
Yeah, and that could happen very easily because Starfield, solo player game, a little bit older of an engine. I do like the fact that Bethesda at least made the environments look better, but I have to say that eventually this is what happens on solo player games. Let's not beat around the bush here. Bethesda has a great some of the Bethesda titles have a great modding communities. Look at Skyrim, for example. The modding community is very alive and vibrant, and that game has such longevity to it because of the modding community. And you can do that a lot with Bethesda titles. So you will always have a very active player base in certain Bethesda titles because of the modding community being so vibrant, right? But let's not fool ourselves because on solo play games, generally the attention drifts after you've done everything that you can do. There's that point where you hit, and then you say, okay, I want to go back to a sandbox. I want to go back to like an MMO style game because in the end, I think these particular genres of game are the meta. My opinion.
Which will only mean more sales, more ships being sold, and more funding. So
what's up?
That concern, definitely one I've had for years.
Jonathan?
And you know what? They keep on bringing more money. But in any case, that is the news. So let me know what you think about this Turbulent acquisition. Was it the right move? Give me your thoughts. And if I missed anything important, post below. If you like my content, as always, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe, you meatbag. I'll catch you in the next one.
All right. Well, that was very interesting. I like Montoya's coverage, and I dig it.